shows in the same day. I don't believe so. Maybe they'll save the U.S. title for I don't know, a future show in New Japan later this year, or I don't know if they're going to drag it all the way out to January. But yeah, I mean, he had a nice run in the tournament despite the fact that he lost his last few. Him and Juice seemed to have developed a nice feud pretty much right off the bat as soon as he got there. So that was a nice plus for them. And I think one of the things that happened on the last night as well, on the finals card was an angle with Kenta. Kenta joining the Bullet Club, which I guess is one thing. He kind of turned on Ishii in a tag match that he was in. He joined Bullet Club, but that then led to Katsuyori Shibata making an appearance and doing some physical activity in the ring. So what was your reaction to seeing Shibata kind of do some in-ring activity at the G1 Finals show?
Joe, this is a true story. To me, it was the whole angle, the setup, everything was the best thing I've seen in recent memory. I love Shibata. Shibata, the way it ended, his career ended, I think was terrible. But if you ask Shibata, that's probably how he would end it in the ring. When Shibata came back at the G1 2 years ago, and it was unannounced, and his music hit, and the place erupted like I've never heard a Japanese crowd do. It was absolutely unbelievable. It's one of the most emotional moments I've ever seen. The entire place was crying. I watch it frequently. For Shibata to, I think what happened was when they announced Kenta for the G1, Shibata's music played, and I think it was like almost a little bit of a swerve. Everybody's like, oh, Shibata might be coming back for the G1. Shibata still to this day is not cleared to wrestle. As far as I know, he is not cleared to wrestle. Nobody thought, I kind of thought, all right, Shibata brought in Kenta, and that's it. It's just a good way to get Kenta over with the crowd, kind of, because they looked at him as a traitor. Kenta had some mixed reactions. And by the way, his matches weren't that good. Spoiler, hate to be that guy. He looked a little bit off. Compared to that Will Ospreay match, he had 3 or 4 botches. It was pretty bad. The angle with the Bullet Club, the angle with Shibata coming back, his music didn't play. He ran out. He sprinted to the ring. When he threw the first forearm, I effing jumped. I lost my mind. I was like, oh, and I'm like, all right, a little bit of, and then he followed him in the corner with the running boot, and then he did a double drop kick. Joe, I'll tell you, it was one of the greatest anything pro wrestling wise I've ever seen, because it speaks to the character, but it also speaks to a dude coming back from injury, and everything they say about Shibata is he's quiet, he's soft-spoken, he's polite, he doesn't around, right? You mess up, you're doing your 500 squats. He's running the dojo, and he's doing a hell of a job at the dojo based upon what we saw from the LA guys the entire time. But if everything they did, I don't say this often, was perfect. They did everything perfect for that angle, because the love that the crowd and the fans have for Shibata, I don't know of anybody that is that it's not over. It's they're emotionally invested in him because of how much he's given to the people and how giving the people that match ended his career, and they love him for it. To turn Kenta, who was just starting to get the respect of those people, heel, and have Kenta sit and do the Shibata pose on top of him and everybody doing the below too sweet, I hate them. I hate them because of how good of a job that they did. When the crowd, if this was in the 80s in Mid-South, there would have been a riot. That crowd was just furious, and gone are the days of the Bullet Club being, oh, cool, too sweet, we're selling merch. No, these guys are dicks. It's not cool to like them anymore. It's cool in America to like the GOD, fine. But the Bullet Club as a whole are no longer the cool NWO kind of guys. They're the ghetto hitting you while you're not looking with the Singapore Cane and the Jay White, who's incredibly unlikable. This might be, I don't want to say the best version of the Bullet Club, but it might be the first time they're actually true heels that people legitimately root against.
Yeah, I mean the angle overall, as you stated, was very very effective. Like you said, unfortunately, I think in some cases it makes people think that Shibata may come back to wrestling, and maybe he will. We don't. I mean, but although the news out there, the word right is that he's still not cleared, and obviously his head injury was very serious, and he's not able to wrestle again. But he's still
cerebral hematoma. He almost died. He legitimately almost died. It's not a storyline. He had swelling on the brain. He was in a coma. He almost died.
Yeah. So. But yeah, it was super impactful angle. I mean, maybe they decided he could do some things, and they used it to. Did you blow your background? Is that what you did?
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. Sorry, I'm just.
That's cool. I'm not trying to make a point here or anything.
I'm very listen. This is the most invested angle I'm in, so I'm very interested to hear what you're saying.
No. So that's all. I mean, I think it was very effective in getting Kenta some extra heat. With the Bullet Club, which I guess he needed because, like you said, he kind of was getting some mixed reactions. People were maybe lukewarm to his matches and things like that, and this should add to that.
Dude, how long? Sorry, how long did this angle take to put together? 2 months, maybe 2.5 months. They pulled off what I will say right now is the greatest angle, at least this year, in professional wrestling. I don't think there's another angle that has this many people as invested. I don't think there's another angle that did what it was intended to do. If they book this from the beginning the way it is, it got the most heat on Kenta. It got the most heat on the Bullet Club. It had a return of a figure that everybody loves. Like, it did every single thing it was meant to do, and it took them, 6 weeks? That's amazing when you think about that.
So you liked it better than the Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans feud that was booked over a few months in WWE?
Are you trying to get me to curse?
No,
because I'm so close. I finished an Americano, a very large one. Yes, I liked it better than that. I think we might have a little bit of dog interference right now. Just giving you a heads up. No.
Dogference.
Dogference. God bless these guys.
Well, while we're on that note of dogs, and I don't really know, that's not really a good segue. But anyway, I'm going to switch it over to the one other thing I wanted to talk about from the final show was the tag match between Okada and Tanahashi versus Suzuki and Zack Sabre, which resulted in Suzuki pinning Okada cleanly with a Gotch pile driver, and then stating his claim to wanting an IWGP Heavyweight title shot, given that he was quote-unquote left out of the G1, and then went ahead and pinned the champion on the last night. So how did you feel about that angle? How did you feel about Suzuki getting a title shot? How do you feel about, I guess, the booking of the fact that he was left out of the G1, was just working tag matches for most of the tour. I guess pretty much only working tag matches for most of the tour. And then he gets a win on the champion on the final night and earns a title shot. How did you feel that was done overall?
I'm in for a penny, in for a pound on everything Minoru Suzuki. He had great showings, and I understand why he wasn't in the G1. He's not getting any younger, and he doesn't have to be wrestling, 18, 19, 20 days in a row to prove his point. He was just as effective walking in there, dropping Okada on his head, throwing some water on him, kicking a Ren Narita in the face, cutting a great promo, and being on his way. I love it. And while we're talking about that, the Royal Quest card, the top 3 matches, Kenta versus Tomohiro Ishii for the Never Openweight title, Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. for the British heavyweight title from Rev Pro, and then Minoru Suzuki versus Okada for the IWGP title. It's going to be real tough to beat those top 3 matches. And those matches were created all through the G1 and really mostly on the final night. So I'm excited for that show. I'm excited for anything Minoru Suzuki. And you know who else had a really good showing? Not Kojima. Hiroshi Tanahashi. Not Tanahashi. Who else left out of the G1 this year? Yoshihashi, thank you. His record was, I don't know. He had a very good he had a really good record, and Chase Owens' record was like 7-2 or 7-3 with pins. But I don't expect them to really do anything with Chase Owens. No offense to Chase Owens, but he always kind of seems like that extra added guy in the Bullet Club. So I think all in all, there were a couple of guys that, maybe didn't get the rub from the G1 this year. Like, to me, Hiroki Goto, it really did him no favors. But a guy that did impress me and put on big-time matches, and then, right after the G1 announced that he will be going to the heavyweight division, Shingo Takagi. Joe, as a guy who's never seen Shingo before, what did you think?
I mean, the only match I had seen from Shingo was the match he had with Ospreay at the end of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, which was obviously very good. But I didn't know much about him until I read up on him, so I hadn't seen a lot of his matches historically. But his matches in the tournament were all very good. I think the announcers were talking on the last night about who the MVP of the tournament was between Shingo and Ishii, just in terms of match quality and
Ishii all day.
Yeah, but I think some of them went with Shingo, and I don't really know that you could argue that, just in the sense of like it was his first time going through it, and he had a lot of really killer matches. He works at a great speed, so he was really good. I think that there was a lot of strong wrestlers in the field this year. Overall of the 20 guys, right? I don't know that you could really pick out more than one or two that were not really strong, in-ring singles wrestlers. So it just led to a lot of good matches.
Needs more Yano, though, am I right? Shingo, it's funny because Shingo's a junior heavyweight, which, I mean, LOL to the thought that Shingo's a junior heavyweight. But when he matched up against Ishii and they stood toe-to-toe in the center of the ring, Shingo was like twice his size. So at that rate, should Ishii go to the juniors, Joe?
I believe that I read, maybe it was the day of the finals, that Shingo declared himself to be a heavyweight. So that's his thing now.
Oh yeah, no, I just, is it the right time for Ishii to move down? Is what I'm saying.
I'll talk to Ishii. I'll let you know. All right.
You think he can cut 50 pounds to get down there? What do you think Shingo weighs? 230?
I guess, yeah, I would say like 225, 230, something like that, maybe.
And Will Ospreay, I think he's still going to kind of go in between both, right? He's going to kind of do his thing in the junior division, but he's going to come up for the big matches, maybe the tag matches. What's going on with Will Ospreay?
Well, I don't know. He is going to be in the Super J Cup in about 2 weeks in that tournament, but he did beat Hiroshi Tanahashi on the last night of the A block, so it seems like they are at least trying to toe the line with him. Give him an opportunity to maybe move up to heavyweight after he drops the junior heavyweight title at some point potentially, but we'll see what's in store for Will going forward. But he was another guy that really stood out with his performances in the A block of the tournament.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions, then we're going to wrap this up. What was your favorite match of the tournament?
There's a lot, but I think that the first one that comes to mind is the Will Ospreay and Okada match for me. Personally, that's the first one that comes to mind. There's a bunch that were really good. Ishii had a lot of good matches, so it's hard for me to pick just one, but I'm going to go with Okada and Ospreay.
For me, it was Ishii and Shingo, but are you shaking your head because you can hear him in the background? Is that why?
No, I'm not at all.
Oh, okay. So if it's very, very tight. It's chaos. It's just literally chaos in my house right now. For me, it was, like I said, it was Shingo and Ishii. That really showed to me that Shingo can handle the heavyweights, and it's awesome. Everybody's so thirsty.
Is that Chance? It sounds like a Chance.
It's a big guy. Chance. You
want to come say that? Sopping up that water.
That's good. That's good radio.
So Ishii and Shingo, yes, that was very good. That was a very good match as well. Like we were saying, Ishii had a lot of really good matches. Shingo had a lot of really good matches. Against different guys. I mean, like I said, it's hard. I don't really know there's anybody. The only person I could say, I feel like a jerk saying it, but that I felt like did not have a great tournament is probably Kenta, and maybe Bad Luck Fale. But I mean, I don't really expect much out of Bad Luck Fale.
Oh, Bad Luck Fale is the new wrestler, winning with cradles, spladles, roll-ups. He's really putting his time in. He's going to the Area 51 soon. I really hope that works out pretty well for him.
Me too.
I just want to say one thing about New Japan before we wrap it up. Did you see Super J Cup announcement.